Lee?
I've got two questions. The first one is, how does the existing space factor into being utilized with the new space? And then a second question is, has any thought been given to a traffic light out on the highway for people trying to enter and exit the airport? Because as we grow, I think that hazard continues to increase.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with your second part of your question first and tell you, yes, we have been meeting with MDT now for a number of years, and we would encourage them or anybody else that would be willing to put a traffic light out there. Because it's a state highway, it has to go through them. I actually think we've gained a little traction. It likely won't be ultimately a traffic light, but more of a roundabout is what they're telling us. We think anything that helps calm the traffic in front of the terminal would be a very positive thing. We worry, and of course, we witness some of the accidents that happen out there. And so we've even said that, we would be happy to help fund part of that. And we've actually done some design that we've given to MDT kind of in conjunction with them. And so my hope is that in the not too distant future, that there is something out there that just helps calm that traffic in front of the terminal. Just because, as you said, we're growing. There's more activity, not just at the airport, but on Highway 10. And so we would love to see anything that kind of helps protect our customers.
Has there ever been a fatality out there?
There has.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Yes, sadly there has. So the second part of your question, which was the first part of your question, yes, so the existing terminal, when all is said and done, will cease to exist. And so our challenge with the current terminal is, again, the first piece of it was built in 1948, and that means we have electrical and HVAC and plumbing and building systems that are antiquated, that don't meet our needs anymore. And some of this stuff we can't even find parts for. And so we talked about what the best plan would be, whether we would try to continue to operate the existing facility. And initially that was our plan. We were going to remodel the existing facility and expand it. But what we determined was that it was going to cost us almost as much to do that as it was to just build a whole new facility. And then the cost of operating the two, this building, the old building, is so inefficient that we just felt that it wasn't a good use of our public funds to try to keep both buildings functioning.
Okay.
Len? You have to unmute yourself. Len, you have to unmute yourself. Down in the lower left-hand corner. There you go.
Cris, you mentioned the beautiful cement floors. How is the safety feature for the elderly navigating those?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that, of course, is a concern to us too, if they were to get wet or anything like that. So there's a kind of a finish that's put on them that keeps them from getting slick. It's even better than, like terrazzo is a traditional floor covering. These will be less slick because of that finish than a tile floor would be. I would also tell you that it's not polished concrete everywhere. There's still plenty of carpet and other floor coverings in various locations around the building. But yeah, that's certainly a big concern and something that we had to make sure that we were protecting for.
Good.
Any other comments or questions? Lee?
Maybe you mentioned this, but what is your target date for opening to the public and being fully operational with the new part? Maybe you said it, but I don't remember.
I don't think I did. So our target to be done with construction is actually different from our target for the opening. So we anticipate being done with construction about 1 year from now. So we'll say December of 2021, but we don't anticipate moving into the new building until probably late January of 22. We want to have lots of time for the airlines to get moved in. We don't want to move in the middle of the holidays because obviously that's a busy time for us. And so we don't want to add to the chaos of of the move by adding a whole bunch of passengers into the equation. And so we're going to take our time on the move itself. That'll also give us the opportunity to have some public events where you don't have to worry about coming out and going through the TSA security to go explore the whole building. It'll give Kettle House and Black Coffee Roasters an opportunity to kind of get their operations up and running and kind of maybe have some soft openings where we share again with the public. And we are hoping to have some kind of a big ribbon cutting unveiling kind of a thing where the public can come out and explore the building. And so it'll be a nice methodical transition from the old building to the new.
Will you be able to be operational every day so that people won't have to have an interregnum where there's no flights?
Yeah, so that's our plan, is that there should be no interruption in service at all. It should be a very easy, smooth transition. It may be that you fly out on one day out of the old building, and when you return home from Florida, or in Maritza's case, Disneyland, that you fly into the new building. But yeah, the transition should be relatively smooth, and there should be no interruption of service of any kind.
Okay.
Jim Harmon?
Yeah, so of course, that's the new world for us right now, and obviously we're doing everything that we can to protect the public. We're not health officials, so we're following the guidance from the CDC and from the health department. What that really means is lots of intensive cleaning, disinfecting. All of the touch points at the airport get sanitized multiple times throughout the day. I came into the office a little early this morning, and I was watching our crew as we have a kind of a fogging system that we use where we can fog the various spaces. And so that's happening multiple times throughout the day. Of course, we're giving masks away at the front door. So if people come here and they don't have them, they don't have to worry. We give them away for free as you enter the building. Obviously, while you're in the building, we encourage people to continue to wear their masks and maintain their social distancing. And so our restaurants and gift shops and things of that nature, we've done the same types of spacing markers that you would see in other businesses in the community. And so I don't think there'll be any surprises when you come out here. I think the things we're doing are consistent with the things that all the other businesses are doing. But I would tell you, we've been very aggressive in making sure that people are complying with those recommendations. I would also tell you, I've flown twice in the last month or so, and the airlines are doing an excellent job as well. I was on Alaska in both cases, and they're very good about making sure people are fully complying with the mask requirement. So if you have it below your nose, maybe over your mouth, but not over your nose, they're going to remind you that if you don't cover your nose, they're going to ask you to get off of the airplane. And the airplanes are obviously cleaner than I've ever seen before. So, there's a lot going on to protect the public.
Maritza?
I have a couple questions. My first is, what's your favorite new part of the airport aside from the flushing floors?
Yeah, so I would tell you, as an outdoorsy kind of person, that the deck is always going to be my favorite part. The really cool thing about the deck is that it's going to be all weather. So in the winter, you'll still be able to go out there and sit by the fireplace. We also have, I think you've seen now maybe the domes that some of the breweries are using, where people can go out in the winter. And so we already have a plan with Kettle House where we'll have domes on the deck in the wintertime, so people can go out and sit in the domes and enjoy the scenery and have lunch or have a drink or whatever the case may be. So I think, that's going to be the part that people, both local and people that aren't from Montana, are going to enjoy the most. That's going to give them, that Montana experience. The other part of it that I think is really cool is that for those of us that probably remember, it used to be that you could kind of touch aviation. As a kid growing up, the reason I got in this business is because I remember going out when my grandmother arrived, and I could get close to the airplane and I could smell and touch and hear aviation. And there was always something about that for me. And, it's been so sanitized today where you're in a building, you don't see the airplane, you walk through a jet bridge. And I think that deck, again, it gives you that experience of smelling the jet fuel and hearing the airplanes and kind of seeing a little more personally what's happening behind the scenes. And so, that's the easy answer for me. I think that's going to be a really cool feature. And I would point out, again, we're only one of the few airports. We think we were the first airport to have a post-security deck. And even today, there aren't many that actually do. So,
I'm wondering, you mentioned Black Coffee Roasters. Are there any other new vendors going in, or will the restaurant license stay the same?
yeah, so it's actually, Kettle House will operate the bar, and they will have the first of the restaurant for them. So it'll be the Cold Smoke Cafe, and it'll be the Kettle House tap room. And then Black Coffee Roasters will be on the pre-security side and post-security side. There will be a full menu of food and drinks in both locations. So you'll be able to, if you're just meeting somebody arriving at the airport and you want to have a beer, or you want to have lunch or dinner or breakfast, wherever you're at, you'll be able to have all of that. And so we're really excited, and they're really excited, and they've already been great partners. I think the spaces are going to be beautiful. They have an architect that they're working with, but it's going to be very fitting for Montana. And so we're really excited about that.
Okay, my last question, I think, is, we always hear Bozeman as the busiest airport, and it's the, biggest destination in Montana, but I'm seeing different trends, especially through this pandemic. Do you guys project that Missoula will just continue and maybe catch up to Bozeman as far as incoming and outgoing travel?
So I don't think that we will ever catch up to Bozeman as long as they exist close to Yellowstone National Park or the Big Sky Ski Resort. So their traffic is driven by people from all over the country coming to them. And so, because of that, they have a little bit of an advantage. Our traffic is a mixture of us locals that want to go to Disneyland and other people, in California that want to come to Missoula. And so I don't think that we can ever expect that we'll catch up or pass them. I will tell you, interestingly enough, a conference that I attended here virtually, less than a month ago, an air service conference, actually showed the top 25 fastest growing airports. This was a projection over the next 10 years. And the airport they had listed as number one was actually Missoula, which caught us all by surprise. I don't think we were expecting that. But when we looked at their numbers, we thought that they were pretty reasonable. And based on what we've seen in the recent past, we do expect to continue to grow. I mean, 16 nonstop destinations for a community of our size is obviously something that we think is pretty good. We think we'll have more in the not too distant future, but the sky's the limit, right?
Yeah, I remember just a couple flights a day when I first moved out here. It was incredible. My last question, I'm sorry, you'll let me know when that flushing floor goes in and let me come in with a camera to do a tour.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and so that's a great segue to say that, and I think May has actually already been in the building, but we do offer tours. We typically do Fridays at 10:30 in the morning, and so we would happily, we have to limit the number of people, and so we kind of have a sign-up system through our website. But we would love to get people out there to show you. Now it's really starting to take shape, and you can kind of, understand what the building's going to look like and how it's going to function. And so if at some point you want to come out and look at it, as a group, we would love to have you out there and show off the flushing floor, but, all the other cool features that it has as well. So
Cris, I have a question. What is it you have against Maritza wanting to go to Disneyland?
No, I'm encouraging her. She quickly texted me after we announced the service to Orange County that she was excited because of Disneyland. And so on a serious note, the way our air service works is use it or lose it. And so when we announce new service, we want to hear from the public that, hey, this is something that I want to take advantage of. And so, it makes me happy to hear, and she wasn't the only one, by the way. She just happened to be the one on this Zoom meeting that did text me, but but we obviously want you all to take advantage of whatever new service we get. And so we encourage that. And you'll see a marketing campaign behind the Orange County service, as well as the San Diego, San Francisco, San Jose service on Alaska. So the important part of that is that if we all as locals don't get on those airplanes and use them, then the airlines will ultimately move that airplane to some other community. So I'm just encouraging her to go to Disneyland lots.
He likes to razz me, Jim. He did the same when I went to the Super Bowl.
Okay,
Yeah.
Jim Harmon.
True story. Yeah. 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 So Jim, so you bring up a really good point. I failed in my presentation to tell you that there's two different deck locations, really. There's truly three, actually, because there's one in our office space as well. There's the one that's post security that'll be near the bar. That'll be where the travelers that are actually flying out or in would be able to go. There's actually going to be a deck on the third level that'll have a fireplace that is going to be for the public. So as you suggest, anybody that just wants to come out and look at airplanes and kind of have that experience will be able to come in and enjoy. It'll be a very comfortable, soft seating. We're actually going to pipe in the air traffic control tower, so people that are that are in that space will actually be able to hear the pilots talking back and forth with the tower. And so yeah, we want to make sure that those people that just want to come out and experience aviation have that opportunity. So thanks for asking that. I failed to mention it during my presentation.
Lee?
I only fly maybe on the average once a year in my lifetime, although not in this recent year. And I've heard it said from a number of sources that Montana is an expensive place to fly in and out of. I hear business people say that that's one of the impediments to economic development is the high price of flying in and out of Missoula compared to other parts in the country. I don't know if this is an issue that touches on you as an airport manager, but you're obviously expanding the usage in and out in a number of places. How do you respond to the people that say, I heard it's too expensive to fly in and out, so my business may not ever move to Montana?
Yeah, so we hear that on a fairly regular basis. Or I would say we used to hear that on a fairly regular basis. So like anything, competition puts downward price pressure on whatever it might be, in our case, air service. And so one of the challenges that we've had is to try to bring in additional air service, competing air service. So, I think there's probably been a number of stories now since we brought in American Airlines into the market. Over the years, and this is something we track closely, we've seen our pricing on average coming down. And so we're not yet at the national average, but I would tell you we're getting closer. I would also tell you that over the last 3-ish years, we have been the lowest cost airport in the state of Montana. So we're always comparing ourselves against other airports. And so this is something that we're very focused on. We actually have a meeting next week with Missoula Economic Partnership and some of their member businesses that are regular travelers as we talk about kind of strategies to help them. And pricing, of course, is one of those big strategies. So yes, you're correct. It's certainly more expensive to fly out of Missoula than it would be out of Denver or Salt Lake City or a hub airport. But comparatively speaking now, as we look, if we compare ourselves to Bozeman, Kalispell, or, pick an airport in a different state, similar size, we tend to be lower cost than most of those airports now.
Maritza?
I may have forgotten. I have forgotten.
Gary? Gary? Gary, you got to unmute yourself.
I'm trying. Good morning, Chris.
Hi, Gary.
I may have missed this. Are you dismantling the old tower, or is that still in use? Or
It's not in use other than that's where our engineers' offices are at today.
Okay.
And so a really cool space. It's kind of our lunch room. A lot of times we'll go up
Oh.
there and look at airplanes or look at, whatever's going on outside, look at construction. Ultimately, when it's all said and done, we're having discussions about how we could relocate it. So it may move somewhere else, whether it's on airport or off airport. I just don't know what that is yet.
Okay, great. Okay, look forward to that. Thanks.
Yeah, you got it.
See, Kathy? Or Larry?
More mundane question about I see the big parking lot and then a projected parking lot I guess it's on the north side of that. And that's a long way to walk. Are you going to have a shuttle service? And also a question about drop off and pickup. I know with security and all, are we going to have drop off at the curb and also pick up at the curb?
Yes. Yeah. So the short answer to the last part of your question is yes. So there will be pickup and drop off on the front curb. And we have much more front curb today than we've ever had. So if you've been out here during peak times in the past, the front curb became a traffic jam and we didn't have a lot of space to allow for the pickup and drop off. And so we have a lot more space, or we will have a lot more space for that. We will still have short-term parking that will be just as convenient and close to the building as it is today. The long-term would be, obviously at a lesser rate, is further away for people that might want to walk. And also we'll always have handicap parking that's close into the building. So, the people that need that will have the ability to get to that. The other thing is that we'll have, we've changed our rate structure now to where your first 60 minutes at the airport are free. So you can park in short term if you're just coming to pick somebody up, and you don't have to pay to do that. You can park in the short term lot for 60 minutes, or you could come in and go up to the deck and look at airplanes for a half hour, whatever the case may be. So hopefully we've addressed some of those issues.
Thank you.
Maritza, did you remember?
I remembered. I'm wondering about gift shops. Will it just be one, or we'll go back to like having one pre-security, post-security?
Now, so I missed part of that. Say it again.
Oh, I was wondering about the gift shops. Are there expanded gift shops in the new facility?
Yeah, so there will, as you said, there'll be one pre-security and one post-security, and they'll be kind of blended into the food and beverage space as well. So the same operator that's operating the gift shop today will kind of be co-located with the restaurant space, if you will, the food and beverage space. But yes, there'll be gift shops both pre and post security.
Jim Harmon?
Well, you send me an email and I will happily help you with that. Yeah, I think that would be a cool feature actually. And so, yeah, we can steer you in the right direction.
Gary Hughes? You have to unmute, Gary.
Cris, another question. I know in the past, or I haven't been out there recently, but we're waiting for our loved ones or our business associate or whatever, and we all wind around in that corridor, and kind of describe what that will look like at the new location, the greeting.
Yeah. So it's going to be a big space with lots of glass, and it'll be central to the building. So you'll just go up the escalator or elevator or stairs, whichever you choose. And once you arrive at the top, there's going to be a big glass kind of an area with black coffee roasters. So you have a food and beverage option right there with some comfortable seating. And it'll be the same space where you're sending somebody off too. So it's a very large area. where the arriving passengers and the departing passengers are all going to go through. So centrally located, easy to find, and hopefully comfortable.
Okay, thanks.
And yeah, not winding around like you described. It's terrible today. We get it. It should be a lot more user friendly, let's say. In the
For sure. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Well, I would just say, May, what did I forget? She probably knows this better than I do. So
The one thing you pointed out on the tour was the maintenance of the restrooms. That was exciting for everybody.
right. Yeah, see, those are the kinds of details that I probably failed to mention when I should. But one of the challenges that we have in the current building is in order to clean the restrooms, we actually have to shut them down, which means there are times when we don't have restroom facilities available. And so May probably takes the brunt of this when passengers are asking, well, where do I go now? And she says, well, you really don't have an option now. You have to wait until they get done. And
The
so
trees outside.
that's right. Yeah. So I think we go back to the trees outside. And so in the new facility, we'll actually have lots of different options, as I already said, with the family restrooms and what we call Jack and Jill restrooms. But we'll also have the ability to cut there's a dividing wall that pulls out in the restroom. So we'll shut down a half at a time, clean that half, then we'll flip over to the other side and clean the other side. But there won't be a time where any of the restrooms are shut down completely, where you won't have that option. And so, those are some of the little details that we kind of figured out as we were designing this project. And those are the types of details that May has to deal with during her time out here at the airport and our passengers. So yeah, thanks for pointing that out. What else did I forget, May? I'm sure there's more.
The other thing that impressed me from the very beginning was the fact that you hired the contractor before you had your plans. You might talk about that part a little bit and what it meant.
Yeah, so that's a little bit unique. We're using what we call GCCM, or General Contractor Construction Manager method of delivery, which means we did exactly what May described. Is we hired the contractor before we actually completed design of the project. It turns out that contractors are actually very smart people with really good ideas. And so we went through a selection process and brought Martel Construction on board. And they're an equal part of the team now. They have a seat at the table. They come up with really smart cost-saving ideas or efficiency ideas or whatever the case may be. And so, I think that has made this project stay on budget and on schedule and be really well designed and well thought out. And so that's something that's fairly new in our industry. In fact, I think we're only the second airport in our region, so not just in Montana, to actually go down this path. And it's worked really well for us. And now we're seeing a lot of other airports follow the example.
Richard? You have to unmute, Richard.
Hi, I work with the UM Retirees Association, and we're always looking for tours and things to do. And I'm wondering, when do you give your tours?
So every Friday at 10:30, and the way to get signed up for that is if you go to our website, which is flymissoula.com.
Mhm.
Under the terminal construction project, there's a link that you can click on, and you can make a reservation basically to go out and to come out and tour the project. If that doesn't work or it's too complicated, just Jim has my email address, and you can just send me an email direct too. That will work as well. And Maritza certainly has my email address. So, but yeah, we'd be happy to give you the tour.